Well, hello everyone. I'm Russell Ray with Oklahoma CareerTech, and welcome to the latest episode of CareerTech Conversations. On CareerTech Conversations, we discuss the many ways CareerTech is breaking down barriers in education and giving students of all ages the skills they need to enter the workforce and make informed career choices. Our focus today is science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM for short. And here today to guide us through this discussion is CareerTech's STEM State Program Manager. We have with us Tonja Norwood, one of the busiest people here at the agency. And I guess a big reason for that is because of STEM's growing importance to the state and national economies. Tonja, thank you so much for giving us your time today.
Thank you for having me.
You bet, you bet. Well, STEM-related jobs are definitely on the rise. Employment in STEM occupations are projected to grow nearly 9% by 2028, much more than non-STEM occupations. Tell us, in your own words, why is STEM so important to the state and national economies?
Well, I believe that STEM is involved in every occupation. And so our mission at CareerTech is to get students involved in career exploration at a middle school level. And from that middle school level, we believe that it's just as important to eliminate possibilities as careers as well as maybe choose a focused area.
Mm-hmm.
And, as far as STEM is concerned, students develop skills in critical thinking as well as adaptive thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's super important that students learn those skills through hands-on approach.
Mm-hmm. Well, you touched on it a little bit already, critical thinking and adaptive thinking. What does STEM coursework and curriculums teach students? It's much more than science and math concepts, right?
Absolutely. So one of the things that all of our syllabi includes is the career unit. So when students learn a particular concept, it's super important that they understand that concept ties to a certain career, because that way they can make informed decisions on what they want to pursue as a career. The other thing that they do is they look at the design process. So when they're going through each of their projects, they're using that design process to develop their skills.
Mm-hmm.
They also have the CTSO involvement. Our CTSO is TSA.
Yeah.
So they're using those skills as well. They also have a research component. So all of those things are super important so that students are learned to question rather than just accept things that they read.
Yeah. Now, for students who are interested in STEM, there is a CareerTech student organization out there. CareerTech has 7 CTSOs, we call them. I think membership is growing in all of those, up to about 95,000 members. Tell us about the CTSO that is aligned with STEM coursework.
Okay, so our student organization that we support in the STEM area is called Technology Student Association. Short is TSA.
Mm-hmm.
What students do is I explain it to people much like a science fair, except for instead of doing just a research project, they are actually doing STEM type competitions that align to different cluster areas. So whether it be architectural, whether it be leadership, whether it be the arts area, they can actually develop projects that are year-long projects. Because one of the complaints you hear from industry is that students will come in, they'll do their project and not become part of the team. And with TSA, what that does is it has students developing projects as part of a team, and they work on those year-long. Rather than just do an assignment and get that done, they work on it year-long, and then it culminates at a state competition.
Can you tell us about those state competitions? Can you give us an example of what the competition is about and those projects that these students work on?
Sure. So one of the competitions, let's give you an example out of the construction area, is architectural design or computer-aided design.
Yeah.
So students will develop that project based on a rubric that is developed at a national level. And so then we take that on, and the students have the opportunity to go to some mini conferences across the state in January and February and sometimes in March. And then our state competition is in April, and then they can go on to a national competition at the end of June.
I see. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes, yes. Hopefully, it's just another way for students to engage in different areas to find their passion moving forward with their careers.
And I guess another aspect of that, it teaches not only do they learn science and math, but they learn a lot about teamwork, right?
Absolutely. A lot of the competitions, well, most of the competitions involve a team rather than just an individual project. And that's one thing you hear from industry is that they need a workforce that is part of a team and not just an individual working on projects.
Teaches them about teamwork, also teaches them about project management. You mentioned they work on these projects for a year.
Yes, yes. They typically start them in September, and then, like I say, they culminate in April.
Yeah.
And so, they can refine it based on going to the mini conferences. They get feedback from judges that give them ideas of ways to improve the project so they don't settle. They continue to improve those projects.
Yeah. So partnerships are a big thing here at CareerTech. A lot our curriculums are based on industry input. Can you talk to us a little bit about those partnerships and how industry can get more involved with CareerTech and our STEM education?
Absolutely. It seems like any place I go anymore, industry is saying, how can we get involved? So there's several different ways to get involved in STEM education. Number one thing you can do is you can call a school and say, I would like to be part of your advisory board, because one of the components of a CareerTech program is they must have an advisory board. An advisory board basically guides the curriculum. So industry comes in and the teacher and the students tell them what's going on in their classroom, and then they guide that curriculum. In turn, then they come back to us and say, maybe we should revamp your syllabi or requirements of this course based on the feedback that they get from industry. They could also participate in and be a mentor to that student, which is part of the ICAP process, mentoring students in their chosen career fields. The other thing that they can do is they can actually judge those competitions and give those students feedback, and then be a mentor to them to send them on to a national level and gain national recognition for their projects.
That is great experience, having direct contact with people in the industry, having them act as a mentor for these students, having direct input from the industry. That's exciting.
Yeah, that was one of our goals with TSA, is rather than just having judges that aren't familiar with the competitions, is actually getting industry involved and having them judge the competitions so that the students are getting good feedback on projects.
Now, aerospace. Aerospace is the second largest industry in the state. They are in desperate need of skilled workers in almost every area. Can you tell us a little bit about CareerTech's aerospace program and how they can get involved in that program?
Sure. We have several different pathways. One of the big initiatives across the state has been AOPA. There are two different pathways with AOPA. You can either go to a general pilot certificate in the AOPA. Basically, what they do is they take the same courses their first and second year. In the second semester of their third year, they make a decision. Do they want to go to the pilot pathway or the UAS pathway, or also commonly known as drone pathway?
I see. And I got to plug our video series on aerospace. It's on our website, and you were a big part of putting that together. CareerTech launched a video series of about 40 videos highlighting the stories of people working in the industry and students who are studying aircraft maintenance and other areas. And you can find that information on our website at okcareertech.org. What do you think of that video series? Has it been effective?
Yes, a lot of people have started to use that. One of our partners, Choose Aerospace, that's the other pathway that I haven't spoken about yet, but the other pathway is aviation maintenance.
Yeah.
So what schools can do is they can actually offer that. Clemson University is partnered with ATEC, which is the technical side of the aviation side. And they developed a curriculum. It's brand new this year. It piloted last year, but it rolled out this year to the state. And we have about 6 or 7 programs teaching the Choose Aerospace curriculum. It requires a normal classroom with computers, and students learn the general portion of the AMP license. So what that enables students to do is figure out if that's their passion. It also lets them get familiar with the aviation industry in general.
Yeah, you can really explore the many areas in the aerospace industry. Our videos feature companies like Nordam, American Airlines. We featured Tinker Air Force Base and several tech centers that offer aircraft maintenance and aerospace training. You can check it out on our website, okcareertech.org. You go to business and industry, hover on that topic center, and scroll down to aviation and aerospace. Click that and take you directly to our landing page for our Clear for Takeoff video series campaign. I think you'll learn a lot from that video series. So, I'm sure a lot of students are interested in what kind of paycheck they can get from their training in aircraft maintenance and all the other programs that we offer. What are the starting salaries for some of these jobs?
So a lot of it depends upon the quality of education. So the higher the quality of education, the higher the wage. And beginning wages for the STEM occupations could be anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000 plus. So it just depends upon what area they're trained in.
I see. So how would a student get more involved in STEM through Oklahoma Career Tech? Where do they start? What kind of STEM services and programs would we offer them?
Okay, so we have about 300 high schools across the state, high schools and middle schools that are involved in STEM education. And it really starts with the school itself.
Yeah.
So at the school, if there is already a STEM program, then enroll in, of course, a STEM course. If there is not, the school would have to initiate what is called a Form 2 process, where they fill out a form to say they're interested in starting a program. And then we would go and visit their school and explain to them the different components of a CareerTech program. The biggest thing that CareerTech does for the K-12 schools is provides them funding to make their programs a higher quality, because we can provide funding for equipment, professional development. We can network them with teachers across the state that are doing similar things in their classroom.
I see. Now, you and I recently sat down with a reporter at EdTech Magazine to do a story on what we're doing in the area of VR, virtual reality, and other types of immersive technologies. Immersive technologies is where you merge the physical world with the digital world, or some sort of simulated reality. Can you tell us a little bit about how and where CareerTech is incorporating those kinds of technologies in the classroom?
Oh, sure. We, a lot of tech centers and schools are using it for career exploration. So if they can't actually go to a physical site, then they can do a lot of career exploration using VR. Another thing that you can do is there's a system called Z-Space that incorporates a lot of the AR into their programs. We have, let's see what else. Welding. I was at a tech center about a month ago, and there was a welding simulator that the teacher said that he had a student that was out in the shop that couldn't learn a skill, and so he put him on their simulator. And after spending about 3 hours, they were able to master that skill. So I think incorporating VR and AR into your classroom gives students opportunities that they wouldn't normally have.
Really gives them an opportunity to go anywhere in the world to do just about anything and see if it's something that they're interested in. And a lot of students are visual learners, so it makes a lot of sense.
A lot of field trips, bringing up any place in the world. Another thing that some of our programs are doing is they're using drones to map land and to actually make recommendations on environment and et cetera based on their mapping. So there's a lot going on in Oklahoma.
Drones is a real emerging industry right now. It is part of our video series that I just mentioned. We shot videos at the OSU drones program, and the Choctaw Nation has an incredible place in southeast Oklahoma where major companies go to test their drone technology. It's kind of like a dog park for drones. So pretty exciting stuff. Tell us about two interesting programs also associated with aerospace. Tell us a little bit about the Stellar Explorers and the Cyber Patriot programs?
Okay, so Stellar Explorers, students learn to launch a rocket into space, and they are using a program called STK to launch that rocket, and they problem solve using that software program. So they launch it, they look at payload, they look at the coverage that they have, how much contact they have with the Earth, and it's a competition that is people compete across the nation. And the last couple of years, Oklahoma has been very successful. They have had finalists, national finalists, which means top 10 in the nation.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma, a couple of years ago, Francis Tuttle Purple Ducks actually competed and placed second. So it's been a really popular thing in Oklahoma to participate in. We're hoping to grow that program. Cyber Patriot is a bigger national known competition where they actually work in 3 different environments. You have Windows, you have Cisco, and you have, what's the other one? Linux. And so students compete in those platforms and to secure the environment. It's not about hacking, but it's about securing those environments. And they actually can go on to a national competition, again, just like Stellar Explorer, if they're top 10 in the nation. And we've had some successful programs at Central Tech that our programs have gone to a national competition and been very successful. But we also have an Oklahoma Cup to recognize the people across the state that are doing the Cyber Patriot.
We actually interviewed the Purple Ducks over at Francis Tuttle, a great group of kids, and all of those kids have plans on entering the STEM fields, and it sounds like they had a whole bunch of fun in that competition. Number 2 in the nation. I think that was the first year of the program there at Francis Tuttle, or
I think it was his second or third.
Okay.
But I believe the team members, it was their first year. So
an
it was
amazing accomplishment.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
number 2 in the nation. Well, Tonja, before we leave, is there anything else you'd like to add about STEM and the growing interest in STEM? Obviously, STEM is a bigger part of our state and national economies for obvious reasons. To make it in the modern day world, you almost have to have some level of training in STEM. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Last year, things I'd like to add is last year we touched about 40,000 students across the state. Our programs, we are in grades 5 through 12. We have programs in aerospace. We have them in biomedical science. We have biotechnology, pre-engineering, computer science, robotics engineering, and technology engineering. So there's a wide variety of programs. And if you're interested, please contact us here at the State Department of CareerTech, and you can find us on our website under Educators and then STEM.
There you go. Well, Tonja Norwood, one of the busiest people here at CareerTech, thank you so much for your time. I've learned a lot. I think our listeners have learned a lot as well. For more information about STEM coursework and careers and other CareerTech programs, visit Oklahoma CareerTech website at okcareertech.org. And don't forget to follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We hope you'll join us soon for our next episode of CareerTech Conversations. For Oklahoma CareerTech, I'm Russell Ray.